Evening VC, Dave here. So we are keeping the Blue Note project rolling right along. The next in the series is an absolute giant of a record, and the most important record to ever be released by Blue Note. That's Lee Morgan, the Sidewinder, 4157. And man, what a record. Your lineup: Joe Henderson on tenor sax, Barry Harris piano, Bob Cranshaw on the bass, and Billy Higgins rounds out the lineup on the drums. So this record was recorded in December of 1963, not released until July of 1964. Very significant because in 1964, that's when the Beatles went on tour for the first time and came to the US. And Blue Note was in peril. And they only pressed 4,000 copies of this record. They did not expect it to do well. And it sold out in 2 or 3 days. It's gone. They had to press more. They were very taken back on the success of this record, and it had a lot to do with the title track, the Sidewinder, which ended up being a Chrysler commercial and just kept going. I think the album reached up to number 25 on the Billboard charts because, you know, at that time the world was paying attention to rock and roll. I mean, jazz was really put to the wayside. Kids did not want to pick up a sax or a trumpet anymore. They wanted to pick up a guitar and a microphone, maybe a drum kit. So yeah, this record saved Blue Note, and it's a phenomenal record. The Sidewinder opens this and is just it's now a jazz standard. It's an absolute classic. Lee Morgan's real tight, short, distinct notes. Everybody's got a pretty good solo there. Joe Henderson, Barry Harris, and Bob Cranshaw. And on these first 2 cuts on the first side, Bob Cranshaw really, really stands out on the bass for me. His best playing ever on a record, in my opinion. You move on to my favorite cut on the record, Totem Pole. That this track has absolutely everything with it. The beginning has a Latin feel to it as well as the end, and Lee Morgan will tell you he got that from Dizzy Gillespie. And in the middle, you have Joe Henderson, maybe my favorite solo from him ever, because this is a bop record, a hard bop record, but man, he adds some free elements. There's just a little bit there you really have to listen, but man, he has got some free elements going on with his solo. It is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. You move to the B-side where you got 3 tracks, and the B-side opens with Gary's Notebook, and probably my favorite playing from Lee on the trumpet on this track. A good solo from Barry Harris on the piano. And yeah, and then you move on to Boy, What a Night. And there's a blues feel throughout this record, and this track here really carries that through. So much so that Barry Harris on the piano, I mean, he is really sounding a whole lot like Ray Charles. He's going off here. And then you move on to Hocus Pocus, the last cut, more straight ahead. Hard bop track on that one. Everybody gets their fill there. Just a phenomenal record. And this copy is I think a White Bee 70s press. It sounds phenomenal. It's, you know, Rudy. You can't go wrong. And I always thought it was funny. There's a video out there, Bob Cranshaw talking about this record and how the Sidewinder, the title cut, was written by Lee right on the toilet, right on the spot in the studio back in that December of '63. He's that good a songwriter. And this album holds up even now. It's a monster of a record and essential in any jazz collection. That's Lee Morgan, the Sidewinder, 4157. Hope everybody's well out there. Peace.